You're welcome.
Okay, how do we achieve super elevation? Okay, how do we achieve super elevation? Like we have the normal slope of the road, which is this one. Okay, and we have to turn this thing. You can see it is inclined both ways from the center line downwards. So we have to turn this thing into something like this, where the whole surface is inclined towards the inside of the curve. The whole surface is inclined towards the inside of the curve. So we have to turn this thing into this, or you can see it here as well. We have to go from here to here, and again it has to be done gradually.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We don't see the image.
Okay.
I don't know if they are seeing it or not.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was saying this is the normal slope of the road, and you have to change it from here to here, like from this shape to this shape, so that the whole surface is inclined towards the center of the curve. Okay, so that the car is pushed towards the inside. Okay, so it has to be done gradually, and it will be done in two stages. The first stage is known as tangent runoff, and the second stage is known as super elevation runoff. Tangent runoff and super elevation runoff. Okay, so tangent runoff is converting the slope of the outside edge of the road to flat. Okay, whatever is the normal slope of the road, normal means whatever you have before providing super elevation. So there is a normal slope of the road for drainage. Okay, so to convert that slope of the outside edge into a flat surface, this is known as tangent runoff. Tangent runoff. Okay, so so from here to here it is tangent runoff. Okay, and then the whole surface needs to be sloped according to the super elevation, the value of the super elevation. So the whole surface, inside and the outside edge, both. So to go from, now what we have here, inside edge normal slope, outside edge flat. So to go from this scenario to full super elevation, this is full super elevation. So this phase is known as super elevation runoff. Super elevation runoff. Okay, to go from this phase when the outside edge is flat and the inside is normal, to go from here to when both edges are along full super elevation. This is known as super elevation runoff. Okay, and what I wanted to say, yeah, so these are the two stages for achieving or from turning to normal slope to full super elevation. Okay, and if you look at the profile here, this is the profile. Okay, this was the 3D image, the one on the left hand side, the one on the right hand side is a profile. So you see the dark gray portion. The dark gray portion is where you are achieving the super elevation, and the light gray portion is the circular curve. So when you are entering the circular curve, your cross slope should be close to this one, close to this one, close to full super elevation. Okay, we will discuss it in more detail. It can be either full super elevation before you enter the circular curve, the light gray portion, or it can be full super elevation, or it can be very close to the full super elevation. Okay. Now, while you are trying to achieve super elevation, it can be achieved in different ways. Okay. If you have undivided highway means what? Without any median. We will use this term again as well, so keep it in your mind. Remember it. Undivided means without any median. So between the two directions, there is no extra space. There is no separation, no curb, no barrier, nothing. You have one direction of the road, and immediately after that, you have the start of the other direction of the road. There is no separation between them. Okay, like I think Hussein was mentioning about the curve without any median. So that way, that is undivided highway. Undivided highway. On an undivided highway, the rotation is done along the center line to achieve the super elevation. Super elevation is achieved by rotating around the center line, around the center line. Now, what do we mean when we say rotation around the center line or rotation around the outside edge or rotation around the inside edge. It means when I say rotation around the center line, it means the elevation of the center line will not change. The elevation of the center line will not change. You will increase the elevation of the outside edge and decrease the elevation of the inside edge, but the center line will remain at its place. And the same thing if I say rotation around the outside edge, that means the outside edge will not change its elevation. You will reduce the elevation of the center line and the inside edge and vice versa. Okay, let me just change something. Okay, so I want you to see my hands as well. Okay, now what do I mean by rotation around the center line? So for example, this is the center line. Okay, so from here to here, you can see the outside edge is now flat. From here to here, the outside edge is now flat. Okay, so what do you call this phase? When you go from the normal slope of the outside edge to the flat outside edge slope, what do you call this?
Tangent runoff.
Tangent runoff. Yes, good. So this is tangent runoff. Okay, from here to here. So to make it, to make the outside edge flat, what did I do? I increased the elevation of the outside edge because the center line has to be in its place. Okay, so I increase the elevation of the outside edge. So because I'm rotating around the center line. Okay, so the center line will not change its elevation. Okay, then you come to this place. So now you can see the elevation of the outside edge is further increased to the normal slope of the inside edge. So the slope of the outside edge is equal to the slope of the inside edge. Okay, so this is part of super elevation runoff. Part of super elevation runoff. Okay, and the second phase. And then you go from both edges having the same normal slope to both edges having full super elevation. So for example, this was 2%. So you made it from 2% to 0. Then you made it from 0 to 2% upwards. Okay, and then let's say you required super elevation 4%. So from 2% upwards for the full surface to 4% upwards for the full surface. Okay, so again this is part of super elevation runoff. Okay, so obviously the last two parts depend upon what is your super elevation and what is your normal slope. Okay, you may not have it like this. Okay, but in any case you have the tangent runoff, which is the outside edge going from normal to flat, and then you have the super elevation runoff where the full surface goes from flat to flat and normal to full super elevation. Okay, and it can be done in two stages. Like I said, you can make the full surface equal to normal slope of the inside edge, and then you can make the full surface equal to super elevation. Okay, depending upon the values. So in all these figures, you can see the center line is not changing its location. The inside edge is at its elevation. Okay, so for example, if you are rotating around the outside edge, so this is the normal slope. Okay, I am saying I will fix the location of the outside edge. I will rotate around the outside edge. Okay, so in tangent run out, the center line will be reducing the elevation. Okay, so it will become from here to here. Okay, I have reduced the elevation of the center line. The outside edge remains at its elevation. Then to go from this to full super elevation, the outside edge will remain as it is. I will reduce the elevation of the center line and I will reduce the elevation of the inside edge. Okay, and if you are rotating around the inside edge of the road, then this will remain constant and these two will go up. The center and the outside will go up. Okay, but like I said, for undivided highways, highways without median, rotating around the center line is very common. Okay, but if you want to rotate around outside edge or inside edge, I told you how to do it. Okay, for divided highways means between the two directions you have a separation, either in the form of a median or a barrier or something. In that case, you can do rotation around the center line or rotation around the outside edge, rotation around the inside edge, but it will be done for each direction separately. So each direction will be like a separate road for you. When you are designing the super elevation, when you are providing the super elevation, you will take each direction without considering the other direction. Okay, so let's say this is the road, and between the two directions you have the median or something. So this direction will achieve super elevation separately, and this direction will achieve super elevation separately. But if it is an undivided highway without any median, then both directions will be rotated combined. Okay, around the inside edge, outside edge, center line, whatever it is. So it will be done combined. For divided highways, for example, if I say rotation around center line, so I mean rotation around the center line of one side. So there will be a rotation around the center line for this direction and rotation around the center line for this direction. Okay, both directions will be rotated separately. Okay, got it? So now we have the values of LR and LT, super elevation runoff and tangent runout. For calculating value of LR, super elevation runoff, we will use this equation. So in this equation you see number of parameters starting with W. W is the width of the lane. W is the width of the lane. Okay, width of one lane. N1, number of lanes rotating on each side. Number of lanes rotating in in one phase. Number of lanes rotating in one phase. Let me call it like this. Or at a time. Number of lanes rotated at a time. So for example, if you go here, I have two lanes. So you can see from here to here, I'm rotating one lane. Okay, and again from here to here, I'm rotating one lane at a time. Okay, so number of lanes rotated is basically half of the total lanes you have. Okay, so if it's 2 lane, you are rotating one lane at a time. So N1 will be 1. If you have 4 lanes, you will be rotating 2 lanes at a time. So N1 will be 2 and so on. Okay, and same thing for divided highway as well. For divided highway, for example, if you have 4 lanes, total 4 lanes, but you are taking each side at a time. I told you each side is taken separately. So on each side you have 2 lanes. Okay, on each side you have 2 lanes. So you will be taking one out of the 2 lanes and rotating it. So in that case, N1 will be 1. N1 will be 1. So for divided highways, it will be half of the lanes on each side. For undivided highways, it is simply half of the lanes total. Okay, half of the total number of lanes. So N1 is the number of lanes you have and rotating. Okay, so they have mentioned it here. 1 for 2 lane, 2 for 4 lane. They are for undivided highways. And if you are talking about divided highways, then you will be taking number of lanes on each side. So 2 lanes on each side means 1, 4 lanes on each side means 2, and so on. Okay. Then you have ED, which is the super elevation you want. Okay. BW is adjustment factor for number of lanes rotated. BW is the adjustment factor for number of lanes rotated. So if you have 1 lane rotated, N1 is 1, then BW will be 1. If N1 is 2, BW is 0.75, N1 is 3, BW will be 0.67, and so on. We don't have more than 3 lanes on each side. Okay, and but if you have, you can use the same pattern and reduce the value of BW. Okay, but it is very uncommon to have more lanes, especially on the curve. Okay, we are talking number of lanes on the curve, so it is very uncommon to have more than 3 lanes on each side on the curve. Okay, so again we are talking about number of lanes rotated, so it's half. Okay, and if you are talking about divided highway, it's 1/4, because each side will have half of the lane. So BW up to 3 lanes is enough. But for example, if you are doing something for China, I have seen it that they have even 11 lanes on the highway as well. So if you get to work in China, ask them to give you the BW factor. Okay. Then we have delta. Delta is the rate of change of cross slope. Rate of change of cross slope. So, because you are changing the cross slope from normal to super elevation, right? So at what rate you are changing it? Okay. So in 1 feet of length, how much of the cross slope you are changing? That is delta. Okay. So relative gradient or rate of change of slope, cross slope. And for delta, we have this table. So if you know the speed, you can calculate the value of, or you can get the value of delta. There's the delta. Okay. Let us do one example. If you have any questions, Okay. Let us do one example here. What happened? Yeah. So we have 4-lane highway, super elevation 0.04, rotating two 12-feet lanes. Rotating two 12-feet lanes. So see, 4-lane highway rotating two 12-feet lanes. So that means it is undivided. It is undivided. Okay. Design speed is given. They want the minimum length of super elevation runoff, LR. Okay. So let me go here, start the notebook.
Doctor, how did we know that it's undivided?
Because they said it is 4 lanes and 2 lanes rotated. If it had been a divided highway, then it would have been 2 lanes on each side, and you will then rotate 1 lane.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, so like is mentioned, N1 is 2, right? 2 lanes rotated. ED is given, super elevation we want 104, width given 12 feet, width of each lane, okay, width of 1 lane. What as BW? For 2 lanes 0.75. Okay, and delta is given 60 miles per hour. For 60 miles per hour, delta is 0.0045. 0.0045. Now, one thing here, why do we have BW? I forgot to explain that. BW is to make sure that LR is not too long. BW is inserted in the equation to make sure LR is not too long, because this is for the transition, right? This is a transition from one cross slope to another cross slope to super elevation. So we don't want this transition to happen over a long length. Okay, it is not good for the drivers and so on. So we want the transition to happen as soon as possible. Okay, so we have this BW factor. So for example, if N1 is 2, okay, so LR will not become twice. If N1 is 1, then LR is whatever the value you have. If N1 is 2, then LR will not become twice of its original length. Okay, it will be slightly lower than becoming twice. Okay, and similarly, if N1 is 3, then LR will not increase 3 times. It will be slightly less than 3 times. Okay, so this is like a check to make sure that LR is not too long. Okay, so they have found that if you don't include the BW factor, LR becomes too long, and then it is not good for construction and cost and design. Okay, so that's why we have the BW factor. Okay, now if we are calculating LR, it will be 2 into 12 into 0.04 into what else was there? 0.75 divided by 0.0045. Okay, how much is the value of LR? $160 feet. Okay. Any confusion? Any problem? Anything you want to ask? It's clear? Okay. Moving on. Then length of tangent runoff, LT. So for LT, this is the equation. Although LT happens before LR, right? LT happens before LR. Tangent runoff happens before super elevation runoff. But you need to calculate LR first because it is required for this equation. So the equation is very simple. Normal slope, ENC means normal slope. ED is design super elevation you want. Okay, so the normal cross slope of the road before the curve, before super elevation, and ED is the super elevation you have designed the curve for, and LR is the length of super elevation or not. Okay, so for example, in the previous example, if I take ENC as 1% or 0.01, okay, then if ENC.
Doctor, can you give us another example, please?
Sorry?
Another example.
An example
One
for what?
more example.
For
the same equation.
Let me finish this one first. Okay. So ENC, if let's say if it is this much, then LT 0.01 divided by 0.04, the super elevation you want, into 160, the value of LR. Okay, so it will be 40 feet. Right? 40 feet. Okay. Now another example. I don't know what one. Let's say, for example, what should I do? Let me change the speed. For example, the speed is 50 miles per hour. Okay, let's say in this example, the speed is 50 miles per hour. Okay, so you take this data, it will remain as it is, but delta will change. Okay, for 50 miles per hour, delta will be 0.0050. Okay, and then how much will be this? Let me write it here. This is delta at 50 miles per hour. How much is the LR now? Yes, anyone? LR. I just changed the value of delta, 144 feet. 144 feet, and then now if you are calculating LT, it will be 0.01 divided by 0.04 multiplied by 144. And how much will that be? 0.01 divided by 0.04 into 144.
Doctor, the problem is that this example is so straightforward. Do you have anything maybe more complicated?
Search the book. What can I say? This is not over, okay? The topic is not over. Okay, don't worry. We have another example with something else, including super elevation. Okay, so don't worry. It will be 36 feet. Okay, I think somebody mentioned in the previous, not in the previous class, somebody asked me in the message as well. I have uploaded both, what do you call, both editions of the book on the blackboard, both editions, 4th edition, 5th edition. Okay, and in these two editions, many of the topics are having the same equations and there are no changes, including this one, including this topic, like the geometric design and many other topics. There are not many changes in the equations and the procedures. Okay, so you can find solved examples and problems from both editions of the book. Okay, so for example, a topic like geometric design is almost the same in the 4th edition and the 5th edition. Both editions I have given to you. So maybe you can find different solved examples and problems from both editions. And if you want to, if you solve an example yourself, show it to me. Doctor, I have done this. It's correct or not? I will tell you. I will tell you the mistakes or whatever. Okay. So as far as this topic is concerned, I have another example coming up. Okay, and we will discuss it in the next class. Okay, if you fulfill my condition. Okay, I will give you a condition. If you fulfill that condition, we will discuss the other example in the class. Okay, if you don't fulfill the condition, we will not discuss it. Okay, so it's in your hands. But we have another example in the slides, and like I said, for this topic, even you can find solved examples in the highway engineering book. Okay, so now you have 3 books from here. You can find solved examples and additional problems. Okay, the thing with the class is I have to move fast. Like we have limited time. Anyways, but if you share that, doctor, I have found this problem, I think it will be solved like this, I will definitely answer you. Okay, I will definitely answer you. Okay, and if you find what else I was saying, anyways, I forgot. Okay, so we have another example coming up, don't worry. So now LR, so going back to the original example, that is LR is 160 feet, LT calculated to be 40 feet. So total transition you need to go from normal slope to full slope elevation is 200 feet. 160 plus 40, 160 for the LR and LT 40 feet. So total transition length you need to go from normal slope to slope elevation is 200 feet. Is 200 feet. Now, like I said, when you reach the start of the circular curve, you should be almost having the full slope elevation, almost. So out of this 200 feet, 60 to 80% is done on the tangent. 60 to 80% of this 200 feet is done on the tangent. Okay, so when you are at the start of the circular curve, your tangent runoff has already happened, and you are, let me go back. So this thing has already happened, and you are very close to this thing now. When you are at the start of the circular curve, your cross slope of the road is very close to this thing, because most of these stages have already happened. 60 to 80% of this whole process already happened on the tangent. Okay, so 60 to 80% is the normal range, and the most commonly used value is 67%. So 67% of this whole process happens on the tangent. This transition to go from normal slope to full slope elevation, 67% commonly happens on the tangent. Okay, or at least 60% and maximum 80% of it happens on the tangent. Okay, now we come back towards a topic of spiral or transition curve. I touched on it in the previous class as well, but now with the super elevation runoff and the tangent runoff, we'll discuss it again. So I told you earlier, spiral curves and transition curves are provided so that the drivers can go from one tangent to circular in a smooth way. The drivers can go from tangent to a circular curve in a smooth way. Okay, so it goes from the transition curve is provided between the tangent and the circular curve, so that the change in radius or change in degree of the curvature happens gradually. Okay, without the transition curve, without the spiral curve, you know, when you are on the tangent, there are no forces, or there are less forces acting on you. When you enter the circular curve, you have additional forces acting on you, which are the centripetal and the centrifugal force. So the transition curve provides you a gradual increase in these forces. Okay, so the change from tangent to circular curves becomes smoother and more comfortable for the drivers if you are providing a spiral or transition curve between them. Okay, so when I told you earlier as well, when the spiral curve starts from the tangent, its radius is infinity, meaning its degree of curvature is 0. Degree of curvature for a straight line is 0, right? Starts from the tangent, degree is 0, radius infinity, and then radius starts to decrease, degree starts to increase, and when you reach the circular curve, the degree of the curvature is equal to the degree of the circular curve you want, and radius is equal to the design radius of the circular curve. The problem with the spiral curve, transition curve, I already told you, design is more complicated than circular curve. It incurs more construction cost, so we don't provide it where it is not required. We don't provide it unnecessarily. So according to practitioners, high speed roads, I called it high tap facilities earlier, if you remember, roads which have high volume, and the curve which you are providing on those roads, if it exceeds 3 degree, if the degree of curvature on a high volume road exceeds 3 degree, then it is recommended to provide that with a spiral transition curve. Okay, so we don't want to provide it unnecessarily, so we have defined a scenario in which a spiral transition curve becomes necessary. What is that? High volume, high speed facility where the circular curve degree of curvature exceeds 3 degrees. Then you should provide a spiral transition curve. Benefits of providing a spiral transition curve, like I said, it provides a driver a comfortable path where the forces acting on the vehicle are increasing gradually. Otherwise, they will increase, instantly. Okay, without a spiral curve, the force acting on it will increase instantly, like we do with the course, right? Like I'm doing it with you with the course. So we are at the start of the course. You are looking at things which you have already learned in highway engineering and surveying. So you think the course is very easy. We already know many things from the course, and it will go smoothly. We all get A grades, and then, inshallah, from next week, all your dreams will be shattered. Okay,
No,
you will go from A to F. No,
we are prepared that there are some surprises at the end.
Okay, you are prepared for the surprise. That's good. Okay, but still you don't know the surprises, right? You are prepared for it. Yeah. So inshallah, it will be nice, pleasant, shocking surprises. Okay. Yeah. Second benefit of the spiral curve is what we are more interested in at this point, which is to provide super elevation runoff. So a spiral curve can be used for providing super elevation runoff. So the super elevation runoff can happen on the spiral curve. So when you are at the starting of the circular curve, so full super elevation runoff has already been achieved. Okay, so earlier we were talking about some part of super elevation on the runoff on the tangent and some part of on the circular curve. With the spiral curve, you don't need to do this. Some part of it on the tangent, some part of it on the spiral curve. On the circular curve, full super elevation is achieved. Okay. A spiral curve also provides a place for widening of the road. I told you earlier, especially when heavy vehicles are traveling on the curve. So this is a curve. Okay. The heavy vehicles cannot follow this path like this because of their size and because of their weight. They go like this. Okay, so instead of providing them this much width, we have to provide them some extra width. So this is known as widening of the road. So the normal lane has less width as compared to the width of the road on the curvature, especially for the off tracking of the heavy vehicles. They are calling it commercial vehicles. Commercial vehicles, these heavy vehicles. Yes.
What's the biggest difference between the two curves? The biggest difference between them?
Two what?
Like the major difference.
Between the two what?
curves, this curve and the other curve.
You mean the spiral curve and the circular curve, or?
Yes.
The major difference is the radius. Circular curve has constant radius. Spiral curve has changing radius at every point.
Okay, thank you.
That's why we provide it, so that the radius is changing gradually until you reach the design radius. Okay. Okay, so a spiral curve, since changes happen on the spiral curve gradually, changes in cross slope, changes in width of the road, so it looks smooth for the driver as well, that road is changing the alignment gradually, so it looks less confusing for the driver, less dangerous for the driver, and it appears better. Okay, so you can see the last point, enhances highway appearance. Without the spiral curve, the highway appearance will not look good. Okay, it will look like highway change suddenly from one design to another design. Okay, so to avoid that, we have a spiral curve. Okay, this is the geometry of the spiral curve. TS means start point of the spiral curve. Okay, TS is the start point of the spiral curve. TS stands for tangent to spiral. TS stands for tangent to spiral. Then we have the length of the spiral curve, LSP. LSP, length of the spiral curve. Then you have point SC. SC is the end point of the first spiral curve. End point of the first spiral curve. SC stands for spiral to circular. A spiral to circular. So a spiral curve ends, circular curve begins. Then we have CS. CS stands for circular to spiral. Circular to spiral. And this is the beginning of the second spiral curve. Because you have to enter the circular curve, then you have to exit the circular curve. So both will happen along the spiral curve. So CS stands for circular to spiral. This is the beginning of the second spiral curve. Then ST. Okay, ST means spiral to tangent. ST stands for spiral to tangent. And this is the end of the second spiral curve. End of the second spiral curve. And obviously between CS and ST you have again LSP, length of spiral curve. Then we have already discussed PI, point of intersection, delta, the deflection angle between the tangents, TS, tangent length for the spiral. TS stands for tangent length for the spiral. So from capital TS to PI, we have this T small s with the tangent length for the spiral. And again from PI to ST, we have TS again. Okay, so tangent length for both ends same. Now total deflection angle was delta. For the circular curve, total deflection angle was delta. Some part of delta will be achieved on the spiral curve, which we are denoting with the small delta. So what is small delta? The part of deflection angle covered by spiral curve. So we have small delta at the end covered by the first spiral curve, a small delta at the beginning and at the end covered by the first and the second spiral curve respectively, and then whatever is remaining is delta S. Delta S. So delta S, this one is the remaining angle covered by the circular curve in the middle. Remaining angle covered by the circular curve in the middle. Okay. So total delta minus these two small deltas will give you delta S. Total delta minus these two small deltas will give you delta S. You can see the equation here. Okay. So total delta minus 2 delta small deltas will give you the angle covered by the circular curve. Okay. How to calculate total delta? Oh, sorry, small delta. This is the equation. LSP, length of the spiral curve. D, degree of curvature for the circular curve. D means degree of curvature for the circular curve. This is the equation for TS. R is the radius circular curve. This is total delta. I told you about LSP. Now how to find out LSP, length of a spiral curve? We have two equations for minimum length, one equation for maximum length. Out of these two equations, you will take the lesser value. So if this equation gives you 50, this equation gives you 40, you will take 40 as the minimum length, 40 as the minimum length. Then from this equation, you will take the maximum value. Any value between minimum and maximum is allowed. Any value between minimum and maximum is allowed. So if this is 40, this is 100, any value between 40 and 100 is allowed. How do I select the value between minimum and maximum? How do I select the value within the range? For that, we have three things. First of all, I have this table, which is giving the value according to the design speed. So you can pick the value according to your design speed from the table, provided that it is within the range. So for example, my design speed is 55, okay, and I pick a value 161 feet, but my range is 40 to 100. So the value from the table cannot be used. If the value from the table is out of the range of minimum and maximum, you cannot use it. Cross it out. Okay. Another rule or another way in which you can fix the value. LSP can be equal to LT plus LR. LSP can be equal to LT plus LR. LT tangent runoff, LR super elevation runoff. Okay. So find out these two values and make it equal to LSP. Add them, make it equal to LSP. Okay, so the tangent runoff and the super elevation runoff both will happen on the spiral curve in that case, but only if their summation is equal to these two, the range of these two, like within the range of these two values. If the summation is, for example, 80 feet, you can select 80 feet, but if the summation is 300 feet, cross it out. You cannot select it. Okay. Another approach is LSP can be equal to LR only, super elevation runoff. LSP can be equal
So
to
then
LR.
what we select if you cannot select it?
There are three different ways in which you can select the value. Any of them which is within the range can be selected. If all three of them are in the range, your decision. Select any of them out of the three. The table,
okay, thank you.
LT plus LR or LR. If all of them are in the range, up to you. Get the value from the table or select LT plus LR or select only LR. If, for example, the value from the table out of the range, cannot use. LT plus LR out of the range, cannot use. LR in the range, select it. Okay. If all three of them are out of the range, for example, LR is also out of the range, then forget about these three things. Use your own judgment to select any value between minimum and maximum. Okay. The point is, any value you select, either from the table or LT plus LR or only LR, it should be in the range. If all of them are in the range, it's totally your decision. If all of them are out of the range, then again, your decision, select any value within the range. If any one of them is in the range, then select that value. Simple. Got it? Okay.
Yes.
Now, so I was talking about a problem that we don't have the time to do it now. Okay. But what I want you to do is try it. Okay. You can be right, you can be wrong, but I want to see that you attempted this problem. Show it to me your attempt, and we will discuss it in the class from start to end. If none of you attempts it and none of you shows it to me in the class, I will not discuss it. Okay, so it's a condition, and this problem has calculation of LT, calculation of LR, and the calculation of stationing and the calculation of a spiral curve length. Okay, so it's very important that you attempt it. Okay, so if you don't discuss it in the class, it's your loss. Okay, so in order to discuss this problem in the class, you need to show me some effort tomorrow. Okay, do any of these things. Okay, like attempt it. Okay, and we will discuss it. Okay, if you don't do it, you don't try it at all, you don't show me that, doctor, I tried it, I did like this, and this is what I got, then if you don't show it at least this much, we'll not discuss it. Okay, so it's up to you. You want to discuss it in the class, do it. Don't want to discuss it, forget about it. Okay, any questions, any queries, any suggestions, anything?
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, you are welcome. Thank you all for participating. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow, inshallah, and have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum. All of you are welcome.